room. This is the play that just occurred.
That's like she tries to slide over right there, and Hartley just kind of falls and makes collision with that lower leg. You see her immediately grab it. And she went down hard and was clearly in a lot of pain.
Sophie Cunningham crumpled to the floor after a brutal knee collision, and the outcry was immediate. Fans, and even her own family, blasted the officials for once again failing to protect players. To them, this wasn't an isolated moment, it was part of a disturbing trend. Caitlin Clark's dangerous groin hit, J.C. Sheldon's infamous eye poke, Marina Mabrey's reckless foul. Every battle with the Sun seems to leave someone from Indiana battered, and frustration is boiling over. But instead of folding, the Fever fought back. Kelsey Mitchell exploded for a career-high 38, Odyssey Sims fresh off a hardship deal gave them life, and Lexie Hull buried a dagger 3. Somehow, Indiana stormed to a 99-93 overtime comeback no one saw coming. The only question now is how they managed to flip the script after such a disastrous first half. If you're riding with Sophie and the Fever, drop your get well wishes in the comments. Let's go.
Shot clock down to 6 for the Fever. Turner, up fade. Turner kicks it. Hull three-pointer. Bottom!
Indiana, she's...
7 on the shot clock, 25 seconds in regulation.
They gotta get to the rim.
Charles has to hoist and connects. Wow. The Indiana Fever prove their resiliency.
Fever down! Up in the chat. Yeah.
For Indiana, the trouble started long before the opening tip. The Fever entered this matchup without a single true point guard. Caitlin Clark was still sidelined with the groin injury she suffered in mid-July. Sydney Colson was out with a torn ACL, and Ari McDonald remained in recovery from a broken foot. That left the roster without a natural floor general, forcing coach Stephanie White to completely overhaul her offensive approach. While most teams at this stage of the season are fine-tuning playoff sets, Indiana had to strip things down, narrowing the playbook and leaning on simplified actions so players thrust into ball-handling duties wouldn't be overwhelmed.
After Phoenix, it was a quick turnaround to figure out, how we're going to play without, Ari and Sid. And now we got to figure out how we're going to play without Soph. And we've got to figure out, who can play in certain roles. What are our substitution patterns going to be? What kind of wrinkles can we throw out there? It doesn't get easier. And I think we come back and have Minnesota twice, right? So it's really good mentally, physically, and emotionally for us. And then it gives us practice time, which we're going to need.
The challenge only escalated once the ball was in play. Midway through the second quarter, Sophie Cunningham went down hard battling under the rim, logging barely 10 minutes before exiting for good. Her grit and perimeter shooting had been a lifeline in Stephanie White's patchwork rotation, and losing her didn't just cost Indiana a body, it ripped away their spacing, the very foundation of their offense. Suddenly, players who were never meant for heavy minutes were thrown into expanded roles, while White and her staff scrambled to juggle matchups, conserve energy, and flat-out survive. By halftime, the rotation was paper-thin, and the Fever were left plugging leaks as fast as new ones sprang open.
We got Sophie Cunningham writhing around in pain, definitely hurt, and Sophie's one tough cookie. If Sophie's kicking and screaming like this, no Will Farrell. She's in pain. We even have Connecticut Sun players, look at that, Connecticut Sun players, Connecticut Sun training staff coming up to her as the Fever starts making their way down.
On paper, all signs pointed to defeat. But instead of folding, Indiana turned chaos into fuel, proving that a thin roster didn't mean a soft fight. It was survival mode, yes, but also a statement. Reduced numbers don't equal reduced resistance. What no one inside the arena realized, though, was that the night's toughest moments still lay ahead. It came with Sophie Cunningham's brutal collision, an injury that not only reshaped Indiana's rotation but reignited the firestorm over how this game, and its players, were being officiated.
Every day in our huddle, that's what we say together. And it's just more than words for us. I think when you see things happening, there's no other way. If you spread apart, the season goes down quicker than anything else. And we talk about with the injuries, people are probably expecting us to just fold, just like you said, and that's not us. We come in the locker room and we're motivated. We continue to be motivated every single time we step on that floor. At halftime, we're motivated, chip away, and that's our mindset. And just continue to uplift people. When one person goes down, we say it all the time, the next woman stands up. And that's really just been our motto and been what we've had to do a lot this season, and that's what we're just going to continue to do.
The defining moment came midway through the second quarter, one of the scariest scenes of the season. Driving to the rim, Bria Hartley lost her balance and crashed straight into Sophie Cunningham's right knee. The impact froze the arena. Cunningham screamed, clutching her leg as she collapsed to the floor. Unable to stand, she was helped off by trainers, with the Fever later confirming she'd undergo an MRI to assess the damage. No foul was called. That single decision lit a firestorm of outrage inside the arena and across social media.
How does she magically lower her shoulder into Sophie Cunningham's legs? Can somebody please explain that to me? Can somebody please explain those physics again? Don't want to hear it, because this is a dirty play.
The reaction was immediate. Fans jumped to their feet, waving at referees and shouting for the game to stop as Cunningham writhed beneath the basket. But play went on. The sight of their teammate in agony, ignored by the officials, sparked fury not only in the stands but on Indiana's bench as well. A starter had to be carried off the floor, and still no whistle, no stoppage, no acknowledgement. Afterward, Coach Stephanie White didn't hide her frustration, admitting her first thought upon seeing Cunningham's pain was blunt and unfiltered.
Have an update on Sophie?
Yeah. Let's do more like MRI or something. Just wondering.
Yeah, MRI tomorrow.
Sorry, just quickly on Sophie. I mean, what's going through your mind when you see her down like that, and you know you're jogging over there?
I'm like, holy shit. I mean, you know, especially the way that she fell and, you know, how she was holding herself and how much pain she was in. You know, at the time, it's like crap, and then you go down there and you see her and it's like, okay, just want her to calm down and be able to breathe.
For many fans, this wasn't just an accident. Coming against the Sun, it felt like another chapter in a troubling pattern. The memories were still fresh. J.C. Sheldon's eye poke on Caitlin Clark in June, Marina Mabrey's hard foul that sent Clark sprawling, and Sheldon's knee to Clark's groin on July 15th, the play that sidelined her for over a month. Each incident had been called reckless by fans and commentators alike, and each time, questions lingered about why stronger disciplinary action wasn't taken. Against that backdrop, Cunningham's collapse didn't look like bad luck. To them, it looked like yet another star left exposed in a league unwilling to act.
Oh, and Cunningham is down. My goodness.
It's okay. No patient.
Time out.
Should be. In a scary moment as we went to commercial, Sophie Cunningham hit the floor hard and she is being helped off the floor, heading back to the locker room.
If emotions were already running high, they boiled over once Cunningham's family spoke out. Her sister, Lindsay, fired directly at the league, posting, WNBA, maybe you should focus less on fining players for commenting on poor officiating and more on hiring officials who can call a consistent game and protect your athletes. Pathetic. Praying for you. This wasn't just a fan venting from the stands, it was family, publicly calling out what she saw as a dangerous environment. Sophie's mother, Paula, added fuel with a since-deleted post labeling Hartley's play as plain mean and out of control. Those words carried weight, shaping perception of the moment and reinforcing the belief shared by many, that players simply aren't being protected.
Bria Hartley deserves zero benefit of the doubt. And Sophie Cunningham's family not too happy. I believe this is Mama C. Hartley is a disgruntled player having trouble everywhere she goes. She's plain mean and plays out of control. Looked out of control to me. Maybe you should focus, her sister. Maybe you should focus less on fining players for commenting on your poor officiating and more about hiring officials that are capable to call a consistent game and protect your athletes. Pathetic. Praying for you. The only good thing positive surrounding Sophie Cunningham coming out of this game, she looked in good spirits in the locker.
At the center of it all was accountability. Hartley's history of on-court clashes, well documented in past reporting, only intensified the backlash. Fans flooded social media, accusing her of recklessness and calling for suspension, while others demanded the league step in and re-examine officiating standards, intentional or not. The absence of a whistle on Cunningham's injury poured gasoline on the fire, pushing frustration to its breaking point. And that's when the tone of the night shifted. Sympathy wasn't going to decide this game. Officials weren't suddenly going to change course. Instead, Indiana leaned into raw emotion and sheer resilience. As the closing stretch approached, all that fury and intensity funneled through one player whose takeover wouldn't just rewrite the outcome of this game, but alter the Fever's trajectory entirely.
I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of you too. Proud of you. I'm so proud of you guys. I know that sometimes it sounds like just a word when we talk about being resilient, but it's not, man. It's how we live. Yep. It's how y'all live, and it's a tribute to you. It's a tribute to your connectedness, your togetherness, your toughness, your mindset. You never give up gritty attitudes. Like, that's what it takes. That's what it takes.
And then Kelsey Mitchell took over. What had been a quiet first half with just 4 points turned into one of the most explosive scoring outbursts in Fever history. After the break, her entire demeanor changed. She demanded the ball, hunted every matchup, and refused to be denied. By the final buzzer, Mitchell had poured in 38 points, tying her career high and setting the season's single-game scoring mark across the entire league. Even more staggering, 34 of those came after halftime, with 10 arriving in overtime when Indiana's season felt like it was hanging by a thread.